The Browns, they clinch a playoff for the second time in 20 years. Joe Flacco, nearly 310 yards. He had 309 with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, which was a pick 6. Trevor Siemian, the quarterback. Not a phenomenal game. I want to know, I have coined them earlier on, the Cleveland Clowns. You have said on the show that you don't particularly love the Cleveland Browns.
I don't.
But let's be honest here. How dangerous do you think this team can be?
I think they are pretty dangerous. Actually, they found a quarterback. Joe Flacco's having a revival year, playing as well as he's ever played. Coming off the couch to start for the Browns is not what you expected to happen. Thought it was going to be Deshaun Watson's team. Deshaun Watson can't stay healthy. The other quarterbacks, they just didn't have faith in.
DTR, P.J. Walker.
Yeah, they didn't have faith in those guys. So they tried Flacco. It's worked out great. He can throw that deep ball just like he always has. He's got the receivers that can catch it. They got a great defense. I think they make noise in the playoffs.
So you think how far do you think this team could go then?
They're going to be they're winning their division?
No,
they're not.
They're one game behind the Ravens, who played the Dolphins. There's a shot there though.
Yeah,
there's a chance.
I don't think they win the division, so that makes them the 5th seed.
That makes them the 5th seed.
5th seed, so they play the.
They'll probably go up against right now the 5th or the 5th seed would play the 4th seed, which is the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sorry, Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think they can win the first playoff game then, because the Jaguars are having trouble this year. Trevor Lawrence is banged up. They don't know when he's going to be back. He's got an a AC joint issue with his shoulder.
Joint, right.
And plus he had a ankle injury too. He hasn't played well and when he's been hurt, and the team overall has not played well. They're on the downturn right now. So if they manage to make the playoffs, then I think the Browns could beat them. So that gets them into the second round. Yeah. I don't know who they'd be playing then, but they've got that great defense. It's really good, and now their offense is good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I find shocking is that Joe Flacco, by the way, he was falling asleep at the very end of that game. He was on the sideline just nodding off, basically. Not a great look.
Probably tired.
He's a 38-year-old quarterback, and he's slinging at 300 yards a game. It's incredible. And by the way, I mentioned on Tuesday, before this game even started, I said, he reminds me of 2012 playoff Joe Flacco. And
they say he's playing as well as he ever has.
And the numbers match exactly that.
Yeah.
You take a look at the comparison of the 2012 playoff Joe Flacco, who, by the way, won the Super Bowl, and then you're like, this team, oh, Joe Flacco, what? He looks really good. Yeah, he looks like his prime Super Bowl winning self at 38 years old.
Yeah. Well, the offensive line of the Browns is enough to keep him upright back there and look down the field and throw it.
Right.
You know, unlike the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why
How dumb were the Jets? They should have hung on to him.
I don't think he would have had the same production because that
maybe
offensive
not,
line
but they would have had a better chance than they did with Zach Wilson. And they needed to have I was listening to the Fan today. They couldn't say enough bad things about the Jets. But one thing they said is you had to have a half decent backup quarterback.
Right.
And they paid Zach Wilson $8 million. $8 million for the performance that he's turned in this year, right? And Trevor Siemian, he's no good.
Right.
They could have had Joe Flacco. I think they would have. They won. The Jets won 6 games.
They're 6.
They could have got at least 2 more games. They'd be playing for something right now instead of out of it.
Right. Joe Flacco. I know it's only a 5-game sample size. He's throwing 50 yards. This is by far the most yards per game of his entire career, by 50, basically. 279.1, which was his career year in 2015. This season, 323.2 yards.
Yeah.
So
5 games, right?
Right, 5 games. So Joe Flacco, I don't know how far this team go. I know they could win a playoff game. If they play the Chiefs, if they play the Jaguars, I am I'm beyond the moon in confidence that this team could beat the crap out of both those teams. Yeah. No doubt about it. The Chiefs have no receivers. And I think with Joe Flacco playing smart, he's not making any big mistakes. He's throwing for 300 yards a game. Why can't this team make it? This is going to sound crazy, and I fully accept that. With the amount of questions we have, Dolphins, they're bad on the road and bad against good teams. We've seen that so far. Indianapolis, who are currently in the playoffs, they're no good. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence out. Defense is inconsistent. Offensive line can't hold up very well. Chiefs, defense is spotty now. Offensive line can't hold up. Mahomes having a very poor year. Buffalo, they're 9-6 and have been on a downtrend. They're gaining momentum now, but we've seen them throughout the season. Josh Allen turnover prone.
They've been on a winning streak lately.
The only team that I'm fearful of is the team in their own division, the Baltimore Ravens. Why can't this team make the AFC Championship game? Is it because Joe Flacco? If it's because Joe Flacco, I could say 323 yards a game. The turnovers are bad. I think he has 11 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. The turnovers are bad. But the defense...
That's because he's throwing the ball deep. You're going to get more interceptions on the deep balls.
And I'll say this. Yes, he's turning the ball over, but the defense is taking the ball right back. Several defensive turnovers. Trevor Siemian, it was a complete mess. Interceptions, fumbles, whatever the case may be. Why can't this team make the AFC Championship game?
Well, they might be
there. They have
there.
the defense.
They might be there against the Ravens.
I have confidence that the Browns can make some noise. It's crazy to sound a 38-year-old quarterback, Joe Flacco, later than midway in the year, is coming in throwing 300 yards a game. But my question is,
I wouldn't be so quick to write off the Chiefs. I mean,
I'm done with them.
They did win the Super Bowl last year,
right?
And they played very well in the playoffs generally. So they get deep into the playoffs, even if they don't get to the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't write them off just yet. I think the Browns against the Chiefs would be a pretty close game.
Very interesting. Who do you think will win, though?
Right. Well, the way the Chiefs have been playing, they lost 5 out of their last 8. I'd say the Browns. I might pick the Browns, but I think it'll be a very close game.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.